And I'm like marking it down.
We should just get started so we have that. We'll start with it's 2. Okay, that's good. That's like 5 seconds, but okay. Anyway, welcome to our second town hall of the year for Student Life. This week, we're gonna have a special guest from PTK, so we'll get to that in a little bit. So, but thank you for coming out today and being here with us. And then at this time, we're going to introduce our student alliance people, just in case still you know who we are again, just because, yeah. So I'm Brendan Berg, I'm the president. Like last year, I was the communication director, and pretty much I just really help run these meetings and everything. And that's my email and office hours if you want to get a hold of me. And next we have Araceli.
No. Hello, my name is Araceli. I am the External Affairs Director for Student Alliance this year. Last year, I was the president of CAB, and also I have been part of TRIO as a pre-mentor, an honors ambassador for the honors program, and I have been all over the place, and I like to advocate for those programs and organizations as well. So as the External Affairs Director, I help sort of get or collect intel on what students want to change or like their opinions on certain stuff to see what we can do to make stuff better. And yeah.
My name is Brandon White. This is my second semester here at GRCC. I'm the director of operations, so kind of like the treasurer. I deal with any of the financial issues, helping make sure clubs get their extra funds allocated and anything like that. Again, my office hours and emails there on the screen.
Cool. So before we go through these icebreaker questions, I came up with, and yes, there is a typo. I'm aware. I just noticed that. Anyway. Does anyone in the audience like here want to introduce who they are, either watching virtually on Zoom or in this room that want to introduce themselves, who they are, what organization they are?
I'll introduce myself.
Go ahead.
I was nominated treasurer of the chess club today. I just joined and it fits because I'm going to school for business, so they were looking for other spots to fill up, but I figured I might as well do treasurer because it lines up perfectly with that. But yep.
What's your name again?
Andrew Osorio Torres.
Cool. Thanks for being here. PTK, anyone want to introduce themselves?
I can. My name is Aya William. I am the chapter president of Alpha Epsilon Kappa, our GRC chapter PTK, and I have with me Lene Silver as our chapter president, chapter advisor.
Awesome. Anyone watching via Zoom that want to introduce themselves? The floor is yours right now. Cool. Okay, so we have a couple icebreaker questions. Please avoid my typo in the first one. Let's see, if you could change one thing about the world, what would it be? Yes, we're starting off with the deep question and go into the easier questions.
I'll go first. If I could change anything in the world, I would really like healthcare to be accessible to everyone in the world. Also, because I am going into the healthcare field, and I think that would be very beneficial to everyone, because everyone does deserve to be in great health, no matter their own status.
If I could change anything in the world, I would like if people could take the time to understand another person before judging them, try to take maybe their position on where they're coming from and figure out what they're trying to do, even if their points don't really agree. Try to finish conflicts with a solution, not like a win or lose type of thing situation.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Andrew on his, like, just a better understanding, have everyone kind of have an open mindset, so it's not so clear cut as what is going to happen, like, everyone be able to be understanding of other people's views and perspectives.
If I could change one thing, I just want everyone to live their best life and be happy. I know it sounds cheesy, but I like living my life positively, and I just wish the positivity could be everywhere, not just select places. And that everyone hears like the same amount of energy and love for everyone.
I agree with you, and I'm always doing the same thing, because I live in country, we're always fighting and doing bad stuff, but I never be in this place, but I just want to change it, live normal, like to live, like to forever.
I wish there wasn't a stigma associated with mental health so that people could talk openly about it and get the help that they need.
Ashley, do you want to go?
I have a long list, y'all. I'll put it in the podcast. I'm just saying.
So the next question is an easier question, it's not as heavy, but before we go on, does anyone in the audience want to answer the first icebreaker question just for fun? Cool. So the next question is, what is one music artist or genre you listen on repeat daily? Like I say, if like all music artists is vanished from the planet of Earth and only one stayed, who would you choose?
I think I'll probably go with something like instrumental or like OST or classical, because I do just like to listen to that when I study or draw. So it doesn't really distract me with words, so yeah, I'll go with that.
I'm with that. Anything instrumental, whether it's classical or something just electronic, I think that's the stuff.
I listen to Punk as Disney pretty much constantly on my Spotify.
Punk Disney?
Punk Goes Disney, so it's a bunch of like punk bands doing Disney covers.
Wow.
It's hilarious.
I'm curious, yeah.
I was gonna say, I have to look that one up.
To be honest with you, I'm not big on instrumental music. I'm more for, I can do like the film scores and like movie score and TV show score, but I can't listen like just like straight classical music. So if it was me, I would go the indie / alternative route. So I would go like to like Lord Huron or like Bon Iver, like something on that route.
Like I only listen to Arabic and Turkish music, like
Nice.
that mostly because I live there.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else in the audience want to answer that question? Okay. So the last question I had, if you had one superpower, what would it be? I think it's alright. I would like to teleport from point A to point B. That way, if I've been needed back and forth like 10 different times in one place, I can just be there like a second. Trust me, like with meetings, work, school, personal life, it would just be nice to be in like 20 different places at once instead of being late or like have someone like cancel on someone.
I would say my superpower would be the ability to learn anything like instantly. Like if I say, hey, I want to learn Arabic, I can just literally think of it and learn it.
Does magic count as a superpower?
Anything-
Like
Yeah.
shooting fireballs, like out of a wand or your hands or whatever?
Like Chris Angel kind of magic.
No, not like.
The fireball?
Pick a card.
Yeah. So that would be mine, like maybe some Harry Potter stuff, so then you could make things flow. You could shoot lightning. It suit really well.
Anyone else want to answer?
Mine, I like making things. So if I could like instantly like imagine something would make it like happen like that, then
So you want to be like the magic builder in like the Lego movie, like I'm in
Yeah.
the Lego movie, like you can just.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like the Lego.
That's what I think of when I get her.
Yeah.
Don't ask.
Okay. Anyone in the audience want to answer this last question before we move on to the presentation? Cool. So at this time, we would like to welcome Phi Theta Kappa. They're going to get a presentation on mental health. So we'll let Aya and Elijah, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Lenny,
Lene introduce himself, and then we'll get into the presentation.
Hello, my name is Aya William, and the chapter, and the president of the chapter of Alpha Epsilon Kappa, our GRCC chapter PTK, and with me, Lene Salva is our chapter advisor. Today, we're going to talk about our college project and share some information with you. At chapter of PTK nationally, we have specific and requirement to achieve each year. To receive our 5-star chapters. This year, we're going to be our 8th year in a row being 5-star chapter. One thing we must do a minimum of our 5-star chapter called college project. This college project is something that we do cooperation with others in campus based on guidance and direction from Dr. Pink. This year, he asked us to do a survey for students to see how they're attending their wellness through the semester. We worked with Dr. Ping and the institutional research to create our survey. Through the presentation, we're going to share some recommendations, themes, data, and to the end, we're going to share some comments we received from the survey. The survey was sent out to 11,631 students who was registered by early August this fall. We opened the survey August 12th, and we will send a remaining weekly until closed August 29th. The survey was sent out to use the survey monkey. Hopefully, we allowed to receive more honesty and responses from students. The return rate was beyond expectation, over 2,281 students who was complete our survey. We also worked with additional comments. We received over 500 individual comments. For those students who was submitted their emails, they could be eligible for 25 Meyer card and 4 winners they choose by IR with them. We had over 1,826 emails submitted. Now we're going to share our data we received through the survey. We found students were very colleges that taken online or in-person classes, and we did receive some notes. Student was more flexible taking online classes, depends about their reasons and schedule time. And on the other hand, some students will struggle with online classes because they depends on subject, class, everything that the online format was not with them. Every student is different. Some students, they want online classes that fit their schedules. Some of them, they want something to fit their learning style. When you look to these numbers, you're going to assume that only students who did not struggle and motivation concern was only 70%. Students who disagree. The rest of them, they was having some struggles and motivations. Again, we have over 18% can be assumed have no struggle and feeling anxious. But there are many of them, they have some issues, factors, leaders, feeling anxiety. Some of them because coming on campus, family, friends, some of them was being contacted during the pandemic. Less than 2% disagree, and 98% want online resources to continue, especially some of them, they were students in the place during the pandemic. Some of them, they appreciate GRCC offer so many resources online and want them to continue. 82% students prefer a regular communication, and another one had 15% were natural. Some of them, they over communication with student, and survey alleged that students appreciate communication. That clearly showed that prefer student emails, we have the highest one. Second one, we had text messages. Under others, student prefer text, prefer personal emails and phone calls. Now I'm going to hand it to Lene.
So the next question that we asked students about was about their experience during the pandemic and their wanting to participate more on campus. And again, we had about a 50-50 split in terms of those that really weren't interested and those that really would like to get more involved. But there wasn't a clear sense in terms of would they want to be involved in person or virtually. So that would be something that we want to pursue later. As for right now, our conclusion with that one is that we want to make sure that we're providing opportunities for students both in person and virtually, so depending on what their comfort level is, they have an opportunity. On the next slide, we talked about being anxious in social situations. And again, as Aya mentioned, when we look at these numbers, we take everybody who's in the disagree, neutral, agree, and strongly agree category as having some level of anxiety, because unless you say that you strongly disagree, you had to think about it, which means you have some level of anxiety going on. So there were only 15% of the students that responded that really don't feel like they've got some anxiety being in social situations right now. Anxiety is a huge issue across colleges and universities. It's a huge mental health issue right now. And social anxiety has gone up astronomically since the pandemic started. In the next slide, we talked about levels of depression and increased levels of depression. Depression is kind of the second leading mental health issue, second to anxiety right now. But students have a lot of depression just because of things that are going on in their lives and an inability to feel like they have some control in their lives. So again, there were only 15% that said strongly disagree. So we felt that the other ones did have some level of depression that was going on based on the impact of the pandemic. On the next slide, we wanted to know about physical health and have they had a hard time maintaining physical health. Again, only 11% said that they haven't had any difficulty maintaining their physical health. Almost 50% of the students answered the strongly agree and agree category. So it is really important that we try to look at how we can address physical health and mental health issues because they're so closely tied together. Your physical health plays a huge role in your mental health and your ability to learn and take in new concepts. So on the next slide, we talked about the themes that we saw as we were going across. Was there a slide before that? Yeah. So we talked about the themes that we had seen throughout the course of the survey. Communication was important to students. Students want both in-person and online options for things. There's a great deal of misinformation that is circulating, and we're going to talk about that more. You'll be able to see that in some of the comments. Students struggle with mental health and overall wellness right now. They want to learn more about resources that are available. They wanted faculty to have more training in online teaching, but this one needs to have a caveat because faculty were thrown into online. Normally, there is a process that faculty are trained through the online and distance learning departments. But when the pandemic hit and overnight we were thrust into everybody's virtual, some faculty who knew that wasn't their strength and never really intended to teach online were thrown into it. So I think we have to all give each other some grace through all of this, because there were students that were thrown into online who had no desire to ever go there, just as there were faculty that were thrown into online who never intended to go there. And so they both sides of the equation struggled. We found through the survey there are very polarized feelings about masks and vaccines. Very strong all capitals with multiple exclamation point comments on both sides of the fence. Anxiety is really a key issue that we found. The choice of learning format, so do I go online, do I take classes in person, is so multifaceted for every student. Everybody's individual in terms of picking how and what, and so they want options. And then again, another theme we heard was helping students prepare for online is really important, because some of the students that were thrust into the online environment weren't prepared for that either. So on the next slide, these were the recommendations that we made for,
Yes.
Yep, okay. So we made some recommendations that were kind of above our pay grade, not anything that we could impact. But we wanted Dr. Pink and Dr. Canetto, who is the provost here at the college, which is the highest ranking academic officer. We wanted them to know what students were asking for. So they were asking for the opportunity to continue classes and services both in person and virtually. They wanted to assure that those teaching online were trained in how to teach online. They also wanted to make sure that students had the opportunity to be prepared for online learning. Students asked for a way to have more consistency across Blackboard classes so that, there was consistent terminology, where to find the discussion board, everybody called it the discussion board. You knew where to find your tests, everybody called it tests type of thing. They also talked about having, possibly asking the science community here at GRCC or the health community to put out some informational videos, short informational videos about some of the misinformation to try to help combat that. They talked about developing a program for returning students to help acclimate them back to the college with the new programs that have come forward, the Futures for Frontliners and Reentry grants that have brought a lot of students who've been away from the college for quite a while back. There's nothing to really help reacclimate them. And as you guys know, things change around here so fast. And if you've been away for 5 or 6 years, there's a lot you don't know and you need to get reconnected with. And then there was some information about offering more resources and student services out in Holland. So those we presented to Dr. Pink and Dr. Canetto and said, hey, can you guys help us out with these? These were some of the recommendations. On the next slide, these are some of the things that our PTK chapter is planning to do this year as part of our what's called Honors in Action project. So as I had talked about earlier, to maintain our 5-star chapter status, there are specific things that we have to do, and then we have to submit a report about what we're doing to the national organization, and then they award us our 5-star chapter status if we've gotten everything done. So we're holding chapter meetings every other week on campus, and anybody is welcome. It is not limited to just PTK folks. And we are having one of the 7 dimensions of wellness covered in each meeting. So we learned early on this summer, we had a training by the department head of the exercise and wellness department around the 7 dimensions of wellness. So we have a presenter coming to each meeting who will provide us some education as well as some activities that we can do around each of the 7 dimensions of wellness. We're working to get going a weekly message to students that would offer information about resources on campus, because that was one of the things that we heard. Not just that we have them here, but where are they and how do you access them? And how do you access them both in person and remotely? We're gonna have a small fitness challenge in there, a success tip around online learning, and a short motivational message within each weekly message. We developed a scavenger hunt around our prize that we pushed out to all the PTK students, but anybody who wants to can do it. We're just trying to figure out how to get it out to everybody. But essentially what it is it's a scavenger hunt through our prize, through our community. So we have you going to different exhibits, all outside ones, so everybody's safe and social distance, and you can do it any time of day. And we just have questions about different ones. And so if you fill them all in and get them back to us, we're gonna have a drawing for some prizes for students who complete it. We wrote a grant this summer through our PTK, through the National PTK organization, and got funds from them to help us with those raffle drawings. So actually, I knew you probably going, how are you doing raffle drawings? That's how we got our funding for it. So we utilize the national organization. We're also looking at doing a healthy eating cookbook and we will be eliciting recipes from everybody. We have a focus on mental health and wellness. So we've already been working with the West Michigan Mental Health Foundation, and we're hoping to do some more things with them around the Be Nice program. We're hoping to do a de-stress event this fall. We were talking about doing like a Smashing Pumpkins event. So, having some pumpkins and other edible objects that could be destroyed, out in the plaza. And so around midterms, probably we'll host some type of event. And we were really hoping to collaborate with you guys and Campus Activities Board on that too. We're gonna set up some motivational chalk messages through the plaza at different times. And then Dr. Pink had asked us, and so we're waiting for his direction. But he wanted us to do a focus group at some point during the fall semester just to gather some more information. So those are some of the things we're gonna be working on. These are some of the comments that we heard. So we did get a lot of accolades that GRCC has done a great job and kind of made the best of it. But then at the same point, we had some comments about how people were not giving each other grace and there was, there weren't enough services, they were hard to find and didn't know how to access them remotely. There's some comments about being nervous about coming back to campus. Because as we all know, in a lot of classes, attendance is an issue. And if you're gone, you don't get your attendance points or whatever it might be, participation. And so the worry is that people are going to come back to campus when they're sick, just to make sure that they're still getting the points for their class. And there was questions about how the college is handling that. There's a lot of notations around anxiety and depression and mental health and how that is. One of the misinformations was there was one that it's not fair to vaccinated people to make everybody wear a mask. As we know, from the science, or at least from that I've heard from the folks in the science areas that I trust, the mask is not worn because, once you're vaccinated, you're not immune to it. So the mask is just to try to help you be healthier. And then the interesting thing is, if you look at the science, the number of flu and cold instances over the last year have been the lowest on record. And so again, wearing the mask, it's more than just COVID. It can help you not get the flu, it can help you not get the cold, it can just help you generally be more healthy. It is annoying, I totally get it, I fog up my glasses all day long, that's why I've got the glasses way down the nose so I can actually still read through them. But the next slide I tried to pull, we pulled the comments that had to do with online and virtual. So if you can read the comments, you can see that there are the people that really liked online. There are the people that really struggled with online. There are the people who indicated that specific programs really struggled online. I get it. I'm sure that art classes and welding classes and dental hygiene classes, I'm not sure how they would do those types of things online. I know the faculty tried to make the best of it, but again, they felt like that was really difficult. So part of putting comments in, and I know they're a little bit hard to read, but we tried to get both sides of the situation, just because there were such polarized opinions in terms of how people felt about different things, which told us that we really want to make sure that GRCC continues to offer options. On the last slide with the comments, that was more about the masking. And again, you can just see people have very strong opinions about wearing a mask, about being vaccinated. Students saying if they're forced to get vaccinated, they're going to go to a different school. So there's all kinds of thoughts and opinions. And I think if we could help maybe combat some of the information and have folks from the science or the health areas really help address some of those, that might be helpful. So maybe like some forums where they could come and people could ask questions to try to learn about it. So that was kind of our project that we worked on, the survey and our findings, and then the things we're going to work on after
Awesome,
what we learned.
awesome. Thank you for sharing your findings. Does anyone either watching via Zoom or in this room have any questions, comments, any stats that like stood out to you, and just like debrief anything you want to talk about?
I think it's really nice that I can come back to school and at least socialize with people, because I was someone who suffered from some depression over the winter. Like I gained weight and like I just didn't like talking to people anymore. I stopped exercising and I just stayed at home and did nothing and I hated myself. So it's really nice to be able to come out and socialize with people again. That being said, I know that like online classes help other people too. You know, it's just a big mixed group. But I don't think forcing one or the other on people is the way to go, because you'll always get major opposition because of how diverse people are.
Yeah.
Are there talks of mandating vaccination too?
What I think people need to understand is that what GRCC does is guided by what the federal and or the state government mandates.
Okay,
So it's not something that, there's very little
Just
that
basically
we just
decide.
decide to do. It's
Yeah.
if they tell us we have to do it.
okay.
So like the president made the comment that he wants all organizations that have over 100 employees to require it. We have over 100 employees.
Okay.
So we haven't mandated anything. I know that they're exploring all of the options and taking guidance from the CDC and from MIOSHA and all of those organizations to really determine what's going to be best.
What kind of help would you like from Student Alliance and other student organizations on campus?
We would love to partner with you guys on some of the event pieces. So like a de-stress event, just kind of, you know, pooling our brains together, how to make that the best and most engaging, as well as safe opportunity for students who want to come out in person, to smash a pumpkin or what other type of fun things. I know, one of our other students had mentioned therapy dogs, which I think we've done before, and that was a big hit. I don't know if therapy dogs can even come out in COVID. So again, you know, it'd take a little exploration, but yeah, we would love to partner with you guys on some of that stuff. And any other student organizations, I think it would be fun to do like a multi-student organization event.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, this was great. I think so many of these voices have been just behind closed doors or at home, so really just to highlight the good, the bad, the neutral, was really helpful, I think. And even just like kind of moving forward with what we know and like what we've heard from students, like we can do better, we can keep trying and we can kind of refocus those efforts, so I'm excited.
Yeah, the biggest thing is just having choices, making sure that students have choices. Because they're, you know, everybody's a little bit different, and you might even be different from one day to the next, depending on what's happening in your world. So having choices, whether you want to participate in person, whether you want to participate online, the level of participation you want to have, but just having choices so that students feel like they have options. I think that's the key.
Anybody else have anything? Zoom people? So thanks again for coming out, giving your presentation. At this time, we're gonna go back to our other presentation, this unit second technology. So at this time, we're gonna talk a couple of our upcoming town halls, not in that, but here are our topics. So we encourage you to come out and join us every other Thursday. So here's just a list of topics we're going to. So the next one is gonna be a student org check-in. So if you're in a student organization, I invite you to come out, invite your advisors, invite your other people in here, and just talk about your student organization, like what's some things you guys are doing, events, anything you guys would like help with, or just like talk about your organization. Maybe if you guys all want to come out, send me a slide or two, I put it all in a presentation, you guys can take time, talk about your organization. Then open up, and if there's like anything Student Alliance can help you guys with, you can bring it up at that organization meeting. So that'll be for October 7th, so we encourage you all to be there. And then you can see in October 21st, we're gonna have the grcc.edu get help. Then November 4th, we'll be doing something with veteran services. And November 18th, there'll be like a social hour game, so we'll just have like a big game. We'll figure out a virtual game too, so people virtually can join us too. And then on December 2nd, Dr. Pink will be here, or President Pink is gonna be here, and we're gonna have a big Q&A with him. Does anyone else want to add anything? Because that's what I got on my calendar. Anything you guys want to talk about? Chess Club, do you have any updates for us? Guardian Club, I know you're in the audience. Do you guys have any updates, anything we can help you with? Collegiate, anything we can help you guys with? Don't be shy.
Well, chess club, you met for the first time today.
Yes.
How did that go? Do you have like a group, like you're recruiting? Or you're set with your
Our
officers?
advisor, Brian, is trying to rally more people. He got I think about 35 people that signed up during the Raider Rally and another event, but we are trying to coordinate when the best times to meet are right now. And there were about 15 people who said that they could meet up today, but only me and a couple other people showed up. So right now, Chess Club is kind of weak. So we would like more people to be, if they're interested in all playing chess, come learn. And I'm myself a beginner, but I would like to, get better.
I encourage you guys to come out then to October 7th. Maybe put together like a little slideshow or something that about chess club and just come out and talk about chess club. Try to recruit new members that way too. PTK, any updates for us, or it was pretty much that?
We had our first in-person meeting yesterday, but we also pushed it out virtually, so we had some people that were virtual and some of us in the room. So that was kind of exciting for us because we hadn't met since February of 2020, so. Yeah, not in person, we've been meeting virtually through the whole thing, but
But the last person was
yeah.
December 2019.
And for Student Alliance, we're pretty much planning for future events and we're planning these town halls for you guys. We're gonna try to figure out doing something during the month of October and we're working with the veterans, trying to figure out something we can do for the veteran services thing too. And then stay tuned, you guys know where to stay connected, Raider Connect, Instagram, Facebook. But this time I have nothing else personally added because I was giving the floor to PTK today. So if anyone else has any final words, want to say anything, now's your chance. All right, I guess. We have nothing. So thanks again for joining us and then hope to see you guys October 7th. We encourage you to, if you need anything, once again, get a second. You can email either me, or Sally, or Brandon about something for the future town hall for like next week or the week. I mean, of course, that's not about doing that. So hope to hear from you guys and I hope you guys have a great week. Good job, guys.